Where your vanity comes out, eh?
That's okay. Hi, and I'm going to pull up the questions that you sent me, so then we can talk about them like one at a time. The poll questions,
Yeah.
right? Oh no,
I went swimming this morning.
I don't want that.
Oh, I was just gonna.
I want that.
It's terrible when you get to see yourself. You get so distracted.
No, I don't want that.
So your vanity comes out.
That's not what I want. This. Perfect. Here we go. So that I can see the relationship questions that they had, and then I can kind of talk through them, through each of them, right?
So we would love to get to know you better. Can you take a couple of minutes to just introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So hi, everybody. So my name is Lori Bertoni, and I am, for formalities, a master neurolinguistics practitioner. So it's an NLP practitioner and coach. And I work with, success-driven and ambitious women who are struggling in their relationships, essentially, to really, get back to themselves, to get them unstuck, to really reconnect with their partners and their lives and their businesses or careers or jobs or kids or whatever is really most important to them, so that they can live their best life. And I've been doing that for about 6 years, right? Since I went through a divorce and got remarried. And so, I have a little experience under my belt when it comes to relationships.
Nothing better than the blood, sweat, and tears of your own experience, right?
Right. And, and through my coaching designation and learning all about that, like I have a background 15 years in fitness as a coach and personal trainer. And, I used to teach all, the fun fitness classes like Zumba and Groove and kickboxing and all those things. And then finally realized that women needed more of a mindset training than me standing over them, making them do push-ups. So, it didn't take long for me to transition into working mostly with mindset and lifestyle and, reprogramming women. And so today, and on our topic of, menopause and relationships, I'm going to really help you guys understand and touch on the struggles, the programming that women have generationally that really, force us to put ourselves last. So this is going to be very awakening. I'm not going to sugarcoat a whole lot, because I think women know. They really know. I think we've heard enough about the self-care stuff and we need to put ourselves first, and so we really need to get a little jarred and shaken a little bit to realize, okay, yes, the time is now, right? Because tomorrow's too late. Like, we got to do it now. So yeah. And I'm also perimenopausal. Yay!
Welcome to this stage.
And so, yeah, I'll be 45 in September. And, the past 2 years, I've come to realize, and, my experience is a little bit different, because I had, a surgery. I had my tubes tied and they did an ablation. So I don't get my period anymore. So I didn't have the signs of really, catastrophic period to show me. Sorry, did I
may have lost her.
Freeze there?
Yeah, you're good. You're back.
I didn't, yeah. So I didn't have those telltale period signs that I was going through the change, but I had a whole whack shit ton of other stuff that, I'm now realizing and relating with, especially after having that conversation with you. I was like, oh my gosh, right? Yeah. Like, and, and so I want to touch on with you guys a little bit more about, listen more about the body telltale signs and listening to our body, and really, that our body is talking to us and telling us a whole nother story. So, I might turn things a little bit on their head today, but it comes from a place of love. It comes from a place of experience. It comes from a place of learn from other people's mistakes. Like, you don't have to live a life of your own hell, although sometimes we do. we have people in our lives, mentors, people who have gone before us in these things that, you know, you can make your life a heck of a lot easier if you would just listen to the professionals, listen to the coaches, listen to the mentors, listen to your friends. Like, we can't do this alone. So, you know, I love that you have a support group and a community, because we need our sisters. We need our sister goddesses, and we need to support each other and, you know, be and have compassion for each other as we go through these, you know, I want to say crazy times, but not
Yeah,
really crazy, but just
stuff that we know
unsure
what's going
times. Like,
on.
we don't know what's going on, like what's going on with our body, like our body, if we feel like our body's letting us down. But really, what I want to talk to you guys and touch on is that your body's actually talking to you. You just haven't been friggin' listening. So let's start listening and do what we need to do. And we haven't been listening because of old programming and blah, 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 blah. So in a nutshell, that's just a little bit about, you know, me and what I really am excited to bring to you guys today.
Awesome.
So if you're with me, so still with me and that sounds good, give me a thumbs up. Or, you know, if you have any questions, by all means, just shout them out, because, you know,
and you can see
I get it.
You can see the comments.
I can.
Perfect.
I see Penny.
Perfect.
I see Sharon. I see Sherry, if they're all still there. Hi, thanks for joining us.
Like, who's that, Mr. Rogers? No, who's look through the little window, or the little
look through the window.
The little mirror. And what, do you remember that?
Where are we from? Where's everybody from? I'd love to know where everyone's from.
I think the ladies that are on right now, yeah, type in the chat, ladies, where you're from. But I think most of them are from my neck of the woods in the Kitchener-Waterloo area.
Okay.
I'm not sure how many are jumping on from other areas, but yeah, it's
so not too far away.
Yeah, Waterloo.
Waterloo, great. So, so I live in Barrie, Ontario, which is about an hour north of Toronto. For anybody not familiar with Ontario or Canada, I know you mentioned there's some people from UK or whatever watching. So,
States,
yeah. Hi, Sharon from Waterloo. Awesome, good. Yeah. So fun, you guys, all you Waterloo, Kitchener people. I want to go out to the Thousand Islands soon and go explore that. So it's funny, you guys are like, and it's romper room, Sarah. That's right.
Room. Thank you, Penny. Yeah.
Penny's our generation. Wow. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks, Penny, for saying that. If you see me keep looking back, it's my sister-in-law's behind me, so it's not like I have a special secret, like, imaginary friend back here.
What's your sister-in-law's name? Hi, sister-in-law behind you.
Sherry from Stratford. But I grew up.
Hi, Sherry from Stratford.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So she's just a fly on the wall back there?
Yeah, she's a fly on the wall. She actually went out of the screenshot on purpose.
Yeah,
so I forced her on.
All right. Okay, we won't put you on the spot or anything like that. Okay, so how do you want to do this? Do you want to want me to go right into the question?
Yeah, if you don't mind. If you want to touch on those poll questions, that would be great, just because there was some interest in those comments, and just
perfect.
Touch into that. And then, of course, ladies, jump in if you have anything else that you want Lori to address, or you have any questions.
Right. Okay, good. Okay, so let's just go with number one, which got the most votes, is do you feel your partner doesn't understand what you're going through right now? And 27 votes, I guess, said yes. They said they don't feel. And so that big surprise, your husband's, unless you're married to a woman, your husband is not going to understand what you're going through because he's a man. So let's just do a full stop right there, because his job is not to understand what you're going through, because he never will. So unless he has a uterus and a menstruation, he's not going to understand the hormonal. But that doesn't mean he can't support you. So that's a whole different thing. He's just not going to fully understand. And so this is why this community is so super important, because you need people who know what you're going through, so that, you know, and so it's okay if he doesn't understand. Go to your community, right? And they're going to feel and understand what you're going through. Exactly. You know, it's like every conversation I have with my girlfriends in my age range are all, you know, talking about you know, their horrendous, you know, periods and whatever else. And I'm just like, you know, I can't imagine, you know, their husbands, you know, being that compassionate. I'm sure some of them are like, they get it, they feel bad for you, right? But they're never really going to understand. So let him off the hook for that, because it's not his fault.
Yeah, he doesn't stand a chance.
No.
Yeah, right. Like, does your spouse support you and understand in their own way? And so 16 votes said yes, and I say great, because of course, if he doesn't really understand, how is he going to support me? How's he going to know? Except when you tell him. So this is where the communication part comes into play. But, and I know this may be really hard for a lot of women to take in, because, you know, we blame them for so much, and I've been there, right? We blame them for the hell that they put us through, but menopause is not their fault.
The
So
one thing they get away with.
yeah, like, so they're going to do the best that they can in their own way, and the only way they're going to do better is by either us telling them, or them doing their own research and going out on their own to, you know, to help you, which would be really
Unusual.
I want to say modern.
Yeah.
Modern, or you very like high awareness, right? So, you know, and I'm sure there's lots of men out there who do that. So, you know, so at the same time, they are going to support you in your own way, and it might not be the way that you need. And I know that that sucks, but we can't their efforts, because it's not what we need. We do kind of need to recognize that they're going to do it in their own, even if it's stupid, silly, you know, it's up to us to tell them, okay, that's really nice, babe, that you did that, but you know, you turned down the air conditioning to like Arctic freeze, but you know, you know, I need a cuddle.
Yeah.
I don't need, you know, Arctic freeze, right? Like, they're gonna, because you're always complaining about being hot, so they like turn everything off and turn on the fans, and you know, that's what they think. So and it says that, so the other one is, are you struggling to communicate your feelings to your partner? And I'm gonna guess that if that's the case, it's been going on from way before menopause, right? It's not a new thing, right? So if you can't communicate your feelings to your partner, one of the things I want to point out here is that, do you even know your own feelings? Like, do you even know what you're feeling? And I didn't realize this for a long time. I was going from zero to panic for so many years that I was not aware of the feelings that I was all the feelings in between. And because I wasn't aware of them, or I skipped over them, I wasn't communicating them, because I didn't even know myself. And it wasn't until I was able to manage them, or to take the edge off the stress or the worry or the anxiety, all the other underlying things, was I able to address my feelings. And now I feel so much more that I'm like, wow, where have all these feelings coming? Now I feel sad, happy, angry, pleasure, you know, like all these gamut of emotions, right? Because so it's knowing your feelings. You need to know that, yes, I'm angry right now. Why am I angry? Yes, why am I frustrated? Right? If you're just mad, it's going to freeze because notifications on my phone come through. So if you're struggling to communicate your feelings to your partner, it's because you don't know them. You don't know what you're feeling. So you got to get more in touch with your feelings and recognize and get to the root of really what is making you upset or frustrated. Like, what are some feelings you think that a lot of your ladies experience that they're not able to share with their partner, do you think?
I think from a lot of what the ladies were saying, it's just there's that disconnect, obviously, between the way you're, like what you're feeling, your husband just doesn't seem to align with it. So one of the classic things that I had for the longest time with my husband was I'm hot and you aren't, and I turn the fan on and he's like, well, that's burning electricity. And it's just, yeah, I get that it's burning electricity, but for right now, I need this on here. And it wasn't until I actually said to him, honey, you don't know what this feels like. And so you just have to trust that I need to do what I need to do in order to alleviate this symptom so that I can feel better quickly and get back to doing what we need to do. So it really did become a battle between the two of us for the longest time because I couldn't actually explain to him what I needed. And so I would react instead of communicate.
They don't understand.
Perfect.
They don't understand how.
Okay,
Yeah.
I love,
Yeah.
I love that because I didn't even think a feeling would be like a hot flash because I've never experienced that. So perfect example is that in order for, because he doesn't understand, this is where you have to educate. And if you can't educate your husband, it's because you don't know enough about why you're getting hot flashes to explain to him, right? And then the whole, you know, taking the person, well, that's burning electricity. It's like, there's a huge disconnect there.
Yeah.
There's a huge disconnect, right? In terms of, because either we're not talking about it enough with him, and this could be anybody, not just you. I'm just giving this as an
just
example,
based on that,
right?
yeah.
Is that if you want him to understand or even just respect and appreciate, right? I'm sure that there are loads of resources out there that can help you break it down for your husband. And remember, we have different communication styles than our spouses. So if you're a feelings person and he's not a feelings person, he might not connect with that. If you are a visual person and he's not a visual person, or he is a visual person, like, you have to learn how to speak your husband's language, let alone get comfortable with your own new version of life and body and everything else like that. Because this is a huge learning curve for women. Like, and this is in our autumn of our life for a reason. It's because this is where we rise and shine, ladies. Menopause is here to teach us to know our bodies inside and outside so that we can start to experience and live life to its fullest at this point right now. Like, these are the best years, I think, really, in terms of, like, you just got to learn how to get a grip on your body. And once you get a grip on your body, bit of that, really get to enjoy life, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense in terms of, like, learning? You have to know how to speak your partner's language. So this is a journey to know yourself and know your partner, and, you know, get to know each other on a more intimate level. This is where all the trust work comes into play. This is where all the sex work comes into play. This is where all the, the deeper levels of intimacy come in your life, with your friends, with your girlfriends, with your sisters, right? Like, this is where we peel the layers of, I don't even know, I want to say, like, bullshit.
Yeah.
and we really get to the, like, juicy goodness of life and what life is really all about, which is connection and pleasure and living and loving and all those things, right? So struggling to communicate your feelings to your partner just comes from learning more about who you are, how you tick, what you need, and then once you know, then you'll be able to articulate it a little bit better. So it's just a self journey, know thyself journey, right?
Yeah, and I think that's going back to what you had said earlier, that we also really struggle with what we are feeling. Like Sherry was just saying, there's a deep discomfort that can come with some of these symptoms that we go through. And a lot of women just can't even tap into that themselves. If you were to ask a woman, what are you feeling when you have a hot flash? Sometimes you just can't articulate that. There's so many layers and so many dynamics of what each woman experiences whether there's a mood swing, or you're feeling a rage, or you are feeling apathetic, it's so hard to even articulate that to somebody, because you're just sort of going, I don't even know what's going on. I have no idea why I'm standing here crying. I just don't know why I am teary today, which can cause a level of frustration with your husband or partner, because they're saying, well, I don't know how to make it better. And you know what, maybe you just don't worry. You don't have to make it better. I just need you to maybe give me a hug because I'm feeling upset and I don't know why, but I just want this. So there's definitely that connection between when you're feeling the way you feel, what do you need? And then to communicate that need to the person that's closest to you.
And I think that that's lovely, and honoring it and knowing that it's okay. Like, you're not broken.
No.
Your body is just going through a hormonal change. Like, you're not broken.
No.
There's nothing wrong with you. You don't need to be fixed. Like, you just need to honor yourself and your feelings. You are allowed to feel. We have emotions, a rainbow of emotions, for a reason. You are allowed to be mad. You are allowed to be frustrated. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to be all those things, 100%. And regardless, I'll get to this comment in a second. It's a good one. So, as long as we understand ourselves, and sometimes if your husband can't give you the things that you need, you got to find your sisters. You got to find the women in your life that can fill that void, because they might just not be able to. It doesn't matter how much I try and get my husband to understand I'm not really into sex. He doesn't get it. Just gets everyone angry. How can I get him to understand this and get I'm not really into sex? Okay, so you're talking about you're not feeling intimate and interactive, right? And he just doesn't understand why you're not really into it. So besides sex, okay, like literally the act of sex, there is a whole gamut of pleasure to be had aside from the literal act of having sex, which we as women need to explore for ourselves. So your husband just wants to connect with you, probably. And yes, sex. So this, and we could go jump down this rabbit hole. So I'm just going to keep it like just short and sweet, and we can totally have a different conversation later on. But sex between two people, like, unless you're strangers, you're connecting. And so we need to learn to connect with our spouses in ways that make us feel good and make them feel good, even if sex is uncomfortable, right? So if the act of penetration is uncomfortable because of all the symptoms that come with menopause, what are they? Like vaginal dryness,
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Right? This is a huge mindset, right? So we as women, and we can talk about masculine, feminine energy, getting all up in our head, right? So when we're too much in our head, we're not in our bodies. So we're disconnected. So women have to learn how to figure out ways to turn ourselves on in so many ways, right? And allow ourselves to feel pleasure in whatever way you want to feel pleasure right now. And I'm telling you right now, as uncomfortable as it can be to consider that, I'm going to plant a seed, and I'm going to make a suggestion to suggest that you start to explore 1,000,001 different ways to find pleasure and to connect with your spouse. But first, connect with yourself, okay? We won't go too much into that later unless we want to, but as soon as you connect to yourself and find pleasure for yourself, start to radiate yourself, and that is going to change your dynamic of your relationship big time.
And so how do you find pleasure for yourself?
Do you want to go there?
Well,
right now? Okay.
Like, no.
You know what? You can find You can find, like, okay, I just was like, just,
I know
you know, tongue in cheek,
yeah,
right?
I know
Tongue in
you are.
cheek,
I know you are. But sometimes we
literally.
just don't feel sexy, right? We feel bloated or we
Okay,
feel
right.
unattractive.
So we have to start to find things that make us feel good. So what does make
Yeah.
you feel good? We're capable of feeling good. What's going to make you feel good? Sometimes maybe just going for a walk. And we're talking, we can go from small little things to bring us pleasure to like full on like masturbation.
Sure.
Like, let's just go there,
Yeah.
right? So like there, from anything from looking at beautiful flowers can give you pleasure. Like what makes you happy? Like what feels good? So feeling good can be emotion inside, physical, skin touching, visual, like beautiful paintings, beautiful art, beautiful colors. Like pleasure is like everywhere. Food is pleasure, right? Smells are pleasure. So we have to start to bring pleasure into our life. This is not about intimacy. This is not about just about sex and, you know, a quickie orgasm and everybody's happy. This is about true connecting, taking the time, getting out of our heads and into our body to feel pleasure. It could be like facial massage, arm massage, just rubbing cream on your body, like loving your body in ways that it's never been loved before because we're too busy hating on it because it's bloated. Okay, well, what makes you not bloated? Do that, right? Like we know. And so this is where we're going to start to peel back the layers of listening to your body, right? And when so 3 years ago, I retired from fitness. So I was the fittest ever, and then got into mindset coaching. And so my body regressed. It gained weight. Because I wasn't working out 15 hours a week, right? So I had to learn to love and accept my body in different ways as it is right now. It's not going to change in the blink of an eye. And so if you can't learn to love your body as it is right now, then we need to do a little bit more work. We need to go back and we need to be like, you still deserve pleasure, right? And the irony is that our husbands don't care. Our partners don't care how we look because they love us the way that they are. But sometimes it doesn't matter what they think, it's how we think and feel, right? But they're just happy they see beauty in you, right? Even though it's, you know, lumpy and cellulite and jiggly and whatever else, it's like, you know, more fun that way for them even, right? So more of you to love.
Yeah.
And so we have to learn how to find that self-love within ourselves in order for us to be able to reciprocate that sexy or that arousal. But we have to find the arousals within us. And recently I just did a little exercise, and it was all about the things that turned me on. So I'll put this out to you guys. Make a list. What turns you on? Literally everything. And then what turns you off? And what I found was pretty much everything turned me on. And the things that turned me off were being too much in my head. And when I'm not approached by my husband in a way that was, you know, appealing to me, or that made me, it was like, ew, that was, no, I don't want to just do that. Like, what makes you think I just want to do that, right? Like,
yeah.
So it was whatever how I was proposed.
Yeah.
Turned me off, right?
What did
So
you
it didn't
say
sound.
when you and I chatted this week? He said something like, if he would have come up and say something like really crass,
Oh yeah, like, hey, you want to give me a blowjob?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Like,
not on my
no.
list of things I want to do right now.
Right. So here's the other thing. What I learned about pleasure too was that what I had to figure out what was important to me about my pleasure, right? Like, what was important to me about my pleasure. And then I had to also, if you're in a relationship, you know, what's important to you about your partner's pleasure? And I was stumped, to be honest with you. I was like, oh my God, have I been like a selfish bitch all this time where it's been all about me, all about me, all about me? And I'm like, it's not a bad thing. But then I had to be like, well, what about him? And so I found myself I was being very selfish. And the minute that I realized that how important my pleasure was, that I started to put my pleasure in the forefront, that his pleasure followed suit quite quickly. And I'm telling you right now, I don't think my husband would have to make a proposal to me right now. And if he did, I'd probably comply, because if I love him the way that I say that I love him, then his pleasure should be just as important to me. Maybe not in the way that he might want it. And this is where the conversation comes into play. This is where the work, this is where the self-work comes in. And so if you're like, what the fuck is she talking about? It's okay. Like, I get that. I get that, because you have to do a little bit of the work. You have to do the priming. You don't just get there. It's a series, it's a process, right? So, but I just want to plant seeds with you to be like, you can totally get there. Totally get there. Like, I've been divorced, I've been married, remarried, and trust me, there was not too long ago where I was like, I had one foot out the door of this marriage too, and started to do this work. And I did a 180, which is now I'm like, wow, finally, I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. But it started with being super, listening to my body.
Yeah.
It started with your body. I'm telling you right now, your body is a metaphor for your life. You know, menopause doesn't have to be, or perimenopause, like, it doesn't have to be the hell that many women experience. It doesn't have to be that way if you would just listen and do the work and listen to your body and heal your body and love your body and nourish your body and move your body and pleasure your body and literally get out of your head. We're way too much in our head as women. So as soon as you allow yourself and give yourself the permission to start to enjoy life and feel pleasure and let go and release and allow,
Yeah.
Call me when it happens. Call me when it happens, right? So it is, you know, it's a journey, but this is the beginning. So if you're watching this, you're ready for this, and I'm excited for you. And so I'm gonna see the other questions. Hang on, because there was another. So if you guys are resonating this, so if does this answer your question, like how do you get him to understand this? It's you saying, I'm not feeling the love in that area. I don't want to do that, but can we do this instead? And then, you know, it's having that conversation with him. If he's looking for that release, just like we have to find self-love and self-pleasure, if you're not willing to, you know, help him in that realm to have his release, right? If you don't want to be part of that, then you really need to tell him that he's going to have to figure out a way for him to go and love himself in that way. And men should have, not say that they should, I don't want to should on men, but I had a conversation with my husband because I was talking to him about my journey and reconnecting with myself and my, you know, vulva, vagina, my pussy, whatever, sorry to use the P word, but, you know, my yoni, right? And I was like, do you have that relationship with your, you know, penis? He's like, yeah, my penis is my best friend. We have a great relationship. I'm like, that's the difference between men and women. They have that relationship, but they want a relationship with us because they're with us.
Yeah.
They've been doing it on their own for
Yes.
forever, right?
That's right. Yeah.
For way too long, right? So, okay. So are you struggling to communicate your feelings to your partner? 13 votes. Is your partner impatient with you when you're experiencing menopausal symptoms or issues? And so he's frustrated. So men, the role of men is testosterone. The role of testosterone is they're fixers. They just want to fix your problem. So when we just want to talk and we just want to unload and we just want to complain or we just want to like share, they're like, oh my God, there's a problem. I got to fix it. I got to fix it. Have you tried this? Have you tried this? You should just do this. Have you talked to this person? Go see the doctor. Like their job is I want to say to fix us or to shut us up. I'm not even sure, but they just want to fix the problem because they don't process how we do. There's a problem, they fix it. We need to share, we need to express, we need to connect, we need to my mother called me.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you just
So
went
we
frozen.
need, yeah, we need to connect. And so so no, you can just say, listen, babe, I'm just gonna share something with you right now. And could you do me a favor and just do nothing? Could you just listen? I need you to hold space. And this is the thing that, you know, we do for each other as women, right? We go for coffee, you know, one friend sits down and she's like just spewing, you know, about her husband or whatever. And it's like, we're just holding space for them. That's all we need. And so, so if they're being impatient with you, well, here's the other thing too, like how long have you been complaining? So if they're being impatient, it means that you're not doing anything about it. So you really need to take um, your success, I guess, into your own hands and start to try different things. And so if this is not working and he's being impatient with you, it's like maybe like how long have you been complaining about or whatever, sharing about this one issue? What's the issue? Right?
Yeah.
Right? Is it the emotions? Is it the hot flash? So have you, you know, who have you talked to Sarah about it? Have you, you know, brought it up to somebody else? Have you, you know, gone to see someone, a therapist, somebody? Have you talked to them about this other, as opposed to just doing nothing about it? So they could be being impatient because you're not taking action.
Yeah.
And trust me, and this is where or so the next one is, does your partner try to give you advice and tell you how to fix yourself, right? So he's going to tell you to do something and that's not going to be the right fix because he doesn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes sense, right? He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand. So he might not suggest, and you're just going to be like, how can you say that? You don't understand. You know, and then it's a whole nother. So this is where when I talk to, you know, spouses, and sometimes men reach out to me because I work with people who are struggling in their relationship, I sometimes get the men reach out to me and say, listen, I'm the man on the other side of this equation. Like my wife is complaining that I'm this, I'm that, like, he's like, I'm really trying, like, what can I do? Right? So men are trying, right? They're trying.
Yeah.
They're trying in their own way.
Yeah.
But really, he and one fella was like, I wish my wife would do more things for herself. I wish my wife would just go and, you know, hire the coach or whatever, because I'm telling you right now, women hold themselves back thinking that their spouse is not going to be on board. And I'm here to tell you right now, if you could do all the things in your power to make you happy, your husband will never say no, because they are programmed, right? Unless they're really feeling left out and like they've been sacrificing themselves for too long. This is where, you know, you need to do it for you, because they don't know what else to do. So just go do it and tell them that it's going to make them happier by you doing it, and they're going to be on board, because they just want you happy. They want you to be healthy. They want you to be happy with your body, happy with your hormones. You know what I mean? Like they just want you to do that for yourself. And I bet you there's going to be like, no, my husband keeps saying no, we don't have the money for that, it costs too much for this. And it's like, okay, great. So I'm here to tell you that he's probably sacrificing a lot in his life and saying no to his own things to put the family first too. So we have a dual, I want to say we have a dual miserability complex where we're both not doing what it takes to make ourselves happy, right? So I just went away for 3 days. I was in Niagara on the Lake with my husband, and we were looking at shirts. There were all these things on sale, and I said, you should buy yourself a shirt. And he was like, no, you know, we're away. You know what I mean? Like he wanted to save the money, right? And I was like, but you deserve a new shirt. Buy a new shirt. Like, you know, they were on sale. They were really nice. And he said, no. So there I am. I bought these cute little earrings. I got like this new scrub, and I went in and I spent some money on myself, right? And so, without asking his permission, like that. Yeah. So then today he went and got his haircut, and then he came home and he had a little bag with him, right? And he goes, and he hair, right? Because so and he's like, and I got this, and I was like, oh, did you treat yourself today? And he's like, yes, I did. I was like, good for you, right? Because he saw that I was doing it for myself. And he was like, well, if she can do it, I can do it too. Despite the fact that I was telling him, buy yourself a shirt. Like, you got to do stuff for yourself because that's what's going to fill your cup. So, buying the thing, doing what's going to make you feel good, right? Like buying the supplements, paying for the programs, right? Like, Sarah has a fantastic program, and she can even help manage the hormones with the supplements. We had this whole conversation. I was like, this is fantastic. Like, I went a different route. However, I was not supported in all the ways that Sarah's program offers women support, which is through nutrition and exercise. And what else is it that you do? Supplements, like all these things. That this is where it starts, ladies. It starts with you saying yes to yourself, because it's going to not only make you happy and improve yourself, but it's also going to help your family and make you a better mother and make you a better wife and make you a better spouse and all those things. Like, investing in you is going to have a ripple effect into your family. We lead by example. So if you think putting them first before you is going to fill your cup, I'm going to say you're completely mistaken. Look at your mother. Do you wish your mother did more for herself to take care of herself? Oh, okay, there we go. So we have to be the change we want to see in the world, which means that I do for me to show you to be a beacon, not only for my children. I've got 2 daughters, but I'm here to step in the light and say, if you do this for yourself, you're going to have a better relationship. You're going to have better sex. You're going to have a better connectivity. You're going to be happier. You're going to feel sexier. And it doesn't matter how many friggin' rolls and jiggles you have, you're going to fill your cup. And it starts with you saying yes to you. You have to say yes to you first.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It doesn't work any other way around, right? And so I'm not seeing any more comments. So does anybody else have any more comments? Like, in terms of, how do you speak to your husband about these things? How do you put yourself first? Like, what is it that you're struggling with the most right now that you need the most support with, that maybe I can answer a question or Sarah can answer a question for you? And if you're watching the replay, then, we can answer these questions later on. But our bodies are a metaphor for our life. Doing right now is getting the results that you're getting right now. So if you're not getting the results that you're wanting right now, it's like, okay, you need to change things up or do something differently, which means you need to take different action steps. And it's like you have to get into a place where you're feeling worthy and deserving. And I know that's a big thing for women, but I'm here to tell you that you are worthy and deserving to invest in your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health. And you can start small and take little steps. But just, we're on a journey. It's never going to end. I just, in terms of like all the things that I've invested in myself, the one I did most recently, which I'm still kind of wrapping up the program right now, is awakening my wild feminine and learning about the duality of masculine and feminine roles, and how, because I'm a success-driven and ambitious woman, I'm always in my head, working my business, wanting to be a perfect mom, want to be a perfect wife. And the more I strived and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, the worse I felt about myself, the worse my relationship was, the worse my business was. And the minute it started to get better was the minute I said, I'm going to start enjoying my life. I'm going to start allowing pleasure in my life. I'm going to start saying yes to me and to things. And the minute that I did that, everything started to get better. And it didn't take very long, right? So You have to do things for yourself. You have to take care of yourself. You have to move your body. Like those are just non-negotiables.
Yeah.
That's how energetics work. But it comes from a mindset. It comes from, and this is where for years and years and years and years, women have been suppressed and repressed and, less than, we were barely even citizens at one point, we're barely even human beings at one point. But thousands of years ago, women were the most revered objects on the planet. Like men worshipped us because we were in our radiance. We loved and we wanted pleasure. And in the animal kingdom, a female animal will not let a male animal near her unless it's time, right? They will never let a man. It's the woman who initiates everything in a relationship. You are the goddess. You are the powerhouse to your pleasure, to your relationship, to everything. So the minute you start to realize that and embrace that and start to recognize that within yourself, then you're going to start to realize how much more control you really have when we would just allow and receive. Like men just want to serve us. Like that's what you think attracted your partner and spouse to. They really, really do. And more than anything, they want to give us pleasure. We're the ones blocking that. We're the ones denying ourselves that because, we're bloated. Well, stop eating the shit that makes you bloated, right? Because we feel fat. Well, go exercise. Stop, go do the things. And this is what I'm saying. I'm going to jar you a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
Straight talk.
and it's like, but I can't, or I da-da-da-da. Okay, you can make all the excuses that you want, but I'm telling you, it's uncomfortable because it's going to require you to get out of your comfort zone. It's going to require you to invest in yourself. Yep. You don't have to pay money. It's going to require you to do more, just a little bit more, not a whole lot more, but really allowing yourself pleasure is really, you have to do less and just say yes. And, it's going to take a little bit more time. Yes, you have to put yourself first, and you may have to schedule that. I don't have time. I'm telling you that you do. Schedule it. 15 minutes a day, do something pleasurable for yourself. And it doesn't have to be like right down the gamut, how I said before, but go buy yourself some flowers. Like if he ain't buying you flowers, go buy them yourself. Take yourself out for lunch. Like these are the little things. Go for a walk. There's so, invest in things, pay the supplements. So one of the things that I found most important for me to manage my feelings, my emotions, and because I was going from literally from zero to panic, was taking supplements. And we talked about some of the supplements that were managing my stress and my anxiety, right? Because I was self-employed. So that can be very stressful. And the minute that I was able to manage those, I was literally able to take better control of my emotions, right? So sometimes things get beyond us, but I'm here to say you can rein things back in really, really quickly, really, really easily, and really, really simply with help. So, reaching out to Sarah to, just inquire, what is she talking about supplements, right? Like, been 3 or 4 weeks. And last night I got in bed and I laid down and I was like, oh crap, I forgot to take my magnesium. And I was like, I literally peeled myself out of bed and I was like, no way, these things friggin' help. And I'm not going to get off this momentum train now. I'm going to continue. I'm going to stick to it because when you find that this stuff works, it is amazing. Like your life will literally do a 180.
Yeah.
Give yourself the gift. Give yourself the chance to experience, a beautiful life. Like you deserve that. You really are entitled to that. And I want every woman to know that and to feel that and experience that. And so, I'm excited, Sarah. I love the program that you've put together for, women going through this because, you don't have to go through this alone. So,
no,
yeah,
it's true. Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I hope I, answered, some deeper questions and.
Yeah, I think that this is always an area around relationships where um, it's just so individual and so unique. So I think for everyone listening, it's really just everyone takes that little bit of nugget for themselves. And thank you, Sherry, for asking that question. I think it's really important that we do tap into what we need, not only emotionally, but also what we need sexually. And I think it's really important that we recognize that that has to start with us in order for us to then start sharing it with our partner. And I think for my biggest takeaway from this, from hearing you talk, is we need to really understand what is intimacy with our partner. It doesn't have to just be intercourse. It maybe is just a massage. It's maybe cuddling. It's maybe just having some more physical intimacy that doesn't require sex for you right at that moment, so that you can start to build that intimacy back with your partner, so that sex then, when they are probably a little bit more interested in that than you right then, you can kind of go, hey, you know what, I'm okay with doing this, because there's been so much more intimacy that we've developed that we now, I'm further along than I was than, you know, before we did those other things.
You want a stronger relationship with your partner. It starts with a stronger relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
You really need to know yourself first. That's number one. And a relationship with ourselves is just that, right? Like, you know, connecting it. And we can have a whole different conversation about that, because I've got some great ideas and suggestions. So if you guys, you know, I can give you some if you need it. You know, it doesn't have to be literally sex. It can be so many other different things. And I'd love to share those resources with you guys. I do have a giveaway.
Oh, fantastic.
And I have the communication style that I was talking about, like how to talk to your husband in his specific language. So the test is, you know, it's a little test that's going to tell you what your communication style is, because we need to know ourselves first. And then you're welcome to share it with your husband to find out what his communication style is. And then it gives you some ideas and suggestions on how to speak in their words,
Yeah.
and how they want. Like, that's
Awesome.
a good place to start. So I'm going to give you that.
I would also love for you to put in your community Facebook group. So there's
Sure.
that link there if anybody wants to go. It's Empowered
Absolutely.
Living. So it would be great if you can put that link into the chat also, because I'd love if women want to hear more about this, and they can join your Facebook community and get more resources there.
Wonderful. Great. I look forward to sharing that with you guys. I hope that's going to be helpful. You guys are still watching. If you guys think it'll be helpful for you to get a test to figure out how to communicate better to your spouse, then give me a thumbs up and I'll send it to you guys right away.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Yeah.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And thank you so much, Lori, for your time. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Now, will you send the link and then I'll post it, or do you want to just put it in the chat? How do you want to do that?
I can just add it right into the comments.
Perfect.
and then
send your,
and if or you know what, they might not get it. Is it okay if I just put a straight post?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Group, so yeah,
okay, then I'll do that.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Perfect.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.
You too. Bye.